This morning I am giving a presentation.
I've been a part of this networking group for a couple of weeks now, actually months, and we get together with local business owners and we try to refer business to each other. So one of the things that we do is we do spotlight presentations, and today I'm presenting, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different. Okay, my name is Chad Miles. I want to talk about three things today. Number one is story, number two is motion, and number three is vlogging. First, I'm going to start with a story. I started in photography and videography when I got my first camera when I was about 16. It was a Nikon D3200, and at that time I was interested in digital media, and I did Photoshop, and I did Illustrator, and I did InDesign, and I did Lightroom, and that was how I got into this kind of industry. I left that. I went to college for IT. When I was at school, I learned about programming, and I learned languages like Python. I learned jQuery and JavaScript and HTML. And I went and I worked for a big company, and then I decided that wasn't the right thing for me. So I left, and now in my work, I make videos, I do photography, I make websites, I make event videos, and I do promotional videos. And that's what I do now. Now, my hope is that that story wasn't that interesting. And here's why. Let me restart again. My name is Chad Miles, and my love for photography and videography started with my dad. When I was younger, I got to watch my dad. He was my hero. He's who I looked up to. And I saw him with his camera, and I learned how to create memories, share messages, and tell stories. That started my love for photography and videography, which I lost a little bit of that creativity when I went to school. And I went down the path of IT, and I went and I worked for a big company. Deep down, what I also learned from my dad is that I loved the idea of starting my own business. I wanted to have the freedom to be able to do that. I wanted to create something every day, and I wanted to build something. And that drove me to start my own business and what I do now. What I do now is I work with people to tell powerful stories, to share messages, and to connect with people in a very unique and authentic way. Now, what I hope you heard, the difference there is the difference of two stories. The first story, I shared what? I shared information, I shared facts, it was very specific. And again, my goal is that you didn't connect with that story very well. The second story, I didn't really tell you anything about what I do. I didn't really tell you anything about how I do it. But what I shared with you was a story that I hope stirred emotion, and that's one part of that story you could connect with. So to me, storytelling is about, it's not necessarily, don't always think of it in the terms of you have to have a character and there has to be a conflict and there has to be a resolution. To me, when I think about stories, I'm thinking about how can I share a message that I can make relevant to someone else? How can I make them resonate with that message? And how can I stir emotion in them? So that's what I think about when I think about a story. Number two is motion. The great thing about stories is that they can continue to be written. And I look at all of us and all of our personal stories as not being done, to be determined, and they're still going. Motion, how I define motion, is it's kind of what we talked about earlier, the daily activities and tasks that we are doing to help us get to our end results. It's the opposite of results. It's the antecedent of results, because if we're focused on results, the results just don't always come. We all know that. Motion is the things that we're doing every day to help get to those results. And let's talk about number three, which is vlogging. If you're not familiar with it, the idea of a vlog it is a video blog. I, for the last 2 weeks, as a challenge to myself, to become the best creator that I can, to grow, to tell stories every single day, have been walking around with a camera and filming myself on a daily basis. The reason I'm doing this is because of what I just mentioned. It's a challenge to put myself in motion every day, no matter what, even if I'm not getting those results. And I'm finding already through a couple of weeks that I am becoming a better creator because I'm practicing every single day in order to get to be the best that I can. So I think one thing is to try to shift our focus away from the results and towards the motion. And so I've got two challenges, and then I'll wrap up. My first challenge would be to think about your story and think about why you do what you do. And when you're telling people about yourself and why you do business, are you telling them the what? Are you telling them facts and information? Or are you telling them the why? And are you sharing with them your story? Because that's what's going to resonate with people, as we just talked about earlier. Number two would be to shift your focus, and maybe there's something that you could be doing to help you put yourself in motion every single day to help you get to those results that we just talked about. Maybe there's something that you can do, like vlogging is for me, that's putting you in the process and in the right mindset every day. It's going to help you get to that end goal. Lastly, this talk was very intentional the way I went about it. This talk was meant to be my story. I was looking at, Wendy sent me the CirrusNet, kind of how you do a spotlight, and it just wasn't resonating with me. They wanted to kind of talk about what you do and why you do it, but then share like 3 problems and how you solve it. And I just thought about, I didn't think that was going to be something that people could resonate with. So this was very intentional. Number 1, I shared my own personal story. And then number 2, rather than tell you what I do and what problems I solve, my goal was that I wanted to share with you the story of motion and vlogging. And so now you have in your mind, what I hope you've taken from this is that I'm dedicated, I'm willing to learn, I'm always trying to grow. And that to me is going to be more impactful rather than telling you what kind of camera I have, what kind of videos I make, and my techniques. So my name's Chad Miles. I'm a digital storyteller. Thank you everyone so much. Okay, went really well. I think it was well received. I felt good about it. I just want to share different stories and give a different perspective and make people think. Hopefully that's what I did today. Now we got some work to do. Not having much luck. It's very frustrating. I need a grill expert. Okay, we got some new parts on. Watch a couple of YouTube videos. Let's see if it works now. Sounds good. Oh! Split. Try these ones. Yes. We saved the day. We saved the day. I kind of feel like behind every entrepreneur, every hustler, every motivational person you see on YouTube, what they never show are the moments where they just do something for fun that they enjoy, the moments where they're just relaxing and taking some time for themselves. I feel like everything's just go, go, go. So you watch these people's videos and you're like, oh my gosh, how do they do this 100% of the time? And I don't think anyone does. So here on my channel, I'm trying to promote the relaxation too. I'm sitting and watching The Office because I enjoy it. Anyone else feel that way? Leave me a comment.